Hey everybody, welcome to the sign up and information thread, the hub thread for Secret Hitler 3. I'm really excited about this game. I'm kind of excited about the whole future of Secret Hitler in Community Central and on Zelda Universe. I think having a game like this is going to be great for our gaming community. I think it supports Mafia well. I think Mafia supports it well. I'm just really excited about the prospects here. So hoping to hype this up and get a lot of interest in this third round that we play together. And to get us started, I'm just going to talk about what the game is and how you play it. So Secret Hitler 3 is a game much like Mafia or Werewolf or Avalon or any number of other party games where you have two teams. One of those teams is an informed minority. They know who's on their team. They know who each other, are. They know who their teammates are, and they have a kind of deleterious goal. They're trying to sabotage everybody else. And then there's an uninformed majority who doesn't know who's who. They don't know who's on their team, and they have some sort of productive goal. And so as the game plays out in rounds, the small informed team, in this case the fascists, are trying to, blend in with the larger uninformed team, with the liberals, and do damage to their cause and try to get things to go wrong. And the liberals are trying to figure out who the fascists are so that they can accomplish their goals without being sabotaged by that other team. So very similar to the town side and the Mafia side in a Mafia game. In Secret Hitler, the goal of the liberal side is to pass liberal policies. You're taking on the roles of a government, specifically a government in the Weimar Republic of 1920s and early 1930s Germany, and you're trying to kind of keep the country on a democratic, forward-looking path in the wake of World War I and the Treaty of Versailles. And the fascists are trying to kind of worm their way into government to take it over and to start passing their totalitarian policies to try to steer the country in a darker direction. So that's the premise of the game. Ultimately, the game plays out in phases, much like Mafia. Mafia has day and night phases. In the day phases, everybody is talking and trying to figure out how they're going to work collectively, and the night phases, everyone's kind of working on their own. Secret Hitler is similar. When you begin the first phase, there's a president who chooses or appoints a chancellor. Now, the president is just chosen by the game mechanics. We're going to have an order for all the players, and the players just take turns being the president, basically. But then the president gets to choose from any of the other 9 players who they want to be their chancellor. And then that ticket, those 2 players, come under a vote. Everyone else, the whole group of 10 players, gets to vote on whether or not they think that those 2 people, the president and the chancellor, should have the right to start passing laws, passing policies. So all the players get together, they vote, and assuming 6 of them think that the combination of president and chancellor is a good, trustworthy one, then those 2 people will go off to make a policy in the next phase. If they decide that those 2 aren't a good government, they're not trustworthy, then instead no policy will be created. The country will become a little bit more chaotic and unstable because nothing's getting done, and the next president will get to pick their chancellor. But let's ignore that for a sec and talk about that situation where we do form a government, where the president and the chancellor get to go off and make a policy. What's going to happen there is me, as the game master, I'm going to take 3 cards from our policy deck. The policy deck has both liberal policies and fascist policies in it. In fact, it has specifically 11 fascist policies and 6 liberal policies. And those numbers are actually pretty important. But I'm going to take 3 cards randomly from that deck, and I'm going to give them to the president. Nobody else sees them. Just the president sees which 3 cards they have. They're going to look at those 3, choose 1 to discard, to get rid of, and pass the remaining 2 to their chancellor. The chancellor is going to look at those 2, discard one of them, and then pass that last policy back to me, and I'll announce what the policy is, and I'll enact it. So you can see kind of the tension here. If either the president or the chancellor wants to, there's a very good chance that they can force a fascist policy through and make sure that it's a fascist policy that gets passed. However, if they do so, they run the risk of exposing themselves as fascists, and then the town will just no longer trust those players. Of course, it's entirely possible, because of the random nature of the game, that there are 3 fascist cards drawn from the deck. Just bad luck. And then no matter what, liberal or fascist, the president and the chancellor are forced to pass a fascist policy. They just have no choice because of the luck of the draw. So that keeps things interesting. That gives fascist players in the presidential or chancellor positions plausible deniability. They can say, I had no choice. I had to pass a fascist policy. That's all that came out of the deck. But it also, makes it so that entirely liberal governments can't be blameless. You can put together the perfect liberal government, and they can still, unfortunately, get caught with a bad set of cards. So the game is all about navigating that, about trying your best to learn what other people are doing and why, in the absence of perfect information, and given that there's some randomness always being thrown at you. And that's basically it. As policies are passed, the game changes in various ways. As fascist policies in particular are passed, the president gets more and more powers. So the first time a fascist policy is passed, the president gets to look at somebody else's card and see what their alignment is. Same for the second fascist policy. The third time a fascist policy is passed, the current president gets to choose who the next president is going to be, which is another, abusable power for the president. The fourth and fifth fascist policies allow the president to kill one of the players. Those are the only 2 deaths that can possibly occur in this game. Unlike Mafia, most players do survive to the end. And the 6th fascist policy passed results in the fascists winning the game. The liberals get nothing for passing their policies. The first 4 liberal policies don't change anything at all. However, the 5th liberal policy results in the liberals winning the game. Now, on top of all of that, there's one more critical mechanic, the mechanic the game is named after. One of the 3 fascists will be the Secret Hitler. This player has pros and cons. First of all, they don't actually know who their team members are. They don't know who the other fascists are. The fascists know who they are, but they're in the dark as to who their allies are, which can create some really interesting situations. Also, if the town manages to kill this player, when they get their kills as presidents, when the 4th or 5th fascist policy is passed, then they'll instantly win the game. But if Hitler is elected chancellor after 3 fascist policies have been passed, the game ends instantly in a fascist victory. And both Secret Hitler games that we've played on Zelda Universe so far ended that way, with the fascists managing to get their Secret Hitler into the chancellor seat. So that's a real threat to the liberal players, and something that you really have to strategize to overcome. And that's basically it. There are some kind of fine details that you can read about in the rules that are going to be posted with this video. But if you can make head or tail of that, you got the big ideas, and really it just comes down to playing the game and getting used to it as it goes on. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this made some sense. I hope you're excited as I am about this event, and I'll talk to you later.